Hi, welcome to another IVS computer technology tutorial. My name is Julie Sepulveda, and I'm the education consultant that's going to take you through today's tutorial. Our topic is how to deliver a summative assessment. So you've created a class list and inserted your students, and you've also created assessments. Now, how do you give the assessment to your students? That's what today is about. Before you start the process, just make sure that your receiver is already plugged in before you start these steps. Okay, so once that receiver is plugged in, what you want to do on your computer is open your teacher tools to start a class and have your students sign in. You can access your teacher tools down here in your notification area. You can also access your teacher tools via the response option in the menu in a notebook file. Next, you're going to open your assessment file. So find that pre-created assessment that you created in Notebook software and open it. After that, once it's open, you're going to go to your response tab right over here, and you're going to select Start this assessment now. Once the assessment has started, your students will be able to answer questions, whether they have a hard copy in front of them or whether you are going question by question using the navigation arrows. You can monitor using the Smart Response tab as you see fit. After that, once the time is up or all students are done, you're going to go back to that Smart Response tab, and then under Progress or Next Steps, you're going to select Stop this assessment. Once the assessment has been stopped, it's up to you how you'd like to view the final results. You can look in the Response tab as well as your teacher tools, or you can export results to Microsoft Excel, and a nice summary with all the questions and every student answer will be created in a spreadsheet. Let's go ahead and give this a try in real time. To save time, I have already pulled up my assessment, and I have also started a class. So right here, I'm in my teacher tools. I have my biology class started. And from your teacher tools, you can always tell when a class is started by this green dot. And if I go to my students, you can see the students that I have signed in as well. So my class is started, my students are signed in. And again, using that same green dot, you can tell which students are signed in. So I have Maria Agnesi and Louisa May Alcott signed in. So I'm going to go back to my assessment. Here's my assessment that I created prior to. My receiver is in, my class is started, my students have signed in, so my next step is to open my file, which I've already done, and now start my assessment. I'm going to go to my response tab here, click on it, and then I may have to scroll down just a little bit to select Start this assessment now. So here's a summary of my assessment properties. And right here, I have a blue link that says Start this assessment now. So I'm going to click it. And my students can now start to participate. So I'm going to go to the first question. Here's question 1. And what you can do once you've started the assessment is right next to this question, who isn't finished, as well as the phrase results preview, you have a link for each that says show. And so this is where you can monitor student progress. And you can watch real-time results. So right now I'm still waiting for both of my students. And here it shows that 100% have not answered yet. So let's get these questions answered. I have one student that has answered false, and the other student still hasn't answered. So here you can see as my students are answering, I can actually see progress. And then since she's answered, it says all students have finished. I can go on to the next question. Same thing. And if you want to auto hide this, you can if you're showing your students question by question. And it's completely up to you. If you want to show this, you don't have to. You can select auto hide, click inside of your workspace, and that Smart Response tab will disappear. You know that an assessment is running because, again, you see this familiar green dot. Anytime you see that, that means either a class has been started or the assessment has been started. Now, once your students have finished or time is up, so even if you're not done, you can stop it, you're going to go back to that response tab, and then you're going to stop the assessment. So under progress here, if I scroll down further, I have an option to stop this assessment, or I can also go to next steps and stop this assessment. Once the assessment is stopped, the graphs change just a little bit in color to show that you have final results. This progress button here will turn into results, and you can see that now I see that 50% have chosen D, 50% have chosen C, and if I go to the previous question, again, it's my final graph. To see overall results, just navigate to the title page, and it will show a bar chart of the assessment and how well your class did. So here's my bar chart. It will show you how long, how many passed, how many failed, how many were absent, the average, standard deviation, and then you'll have a bar chart with each question down below, and then how many students answered each question. And you can also tell if it was skipped, an opinion question, correct or incorrect. If you want to see what how each student performed, you can select details to show that additional information, and you'll see their grade and duration. Just a few things to keep in mind before you deliver your assessment. Again, make sure you've started the class, your students are signed in, and you start the assessment before they start trying to plug in their answers. And then also, you can choose to have a student-paced assessment or teacher-paced. If it's student-paced, make sure each student has a hard copy of the assessment. They can mark their answers on that hard copy and then also use their clickers to submit their answers. And if you do it this way, your students don't even have to see the projected assessment. So you don't have to go page by page. You can just turn your projector off and have the assessment running on your computer only so that you can monitor their progress in privacy. Or you can do it teacher paced where you go one question at a time. So you'll have to monitor via that smart response tab and use the navigation arrows here as well as here to navigate from question to question. Thank you for joining us for another tutorial, and we hope to see you again.